Warm greetings from the Confluence Center of Yoga Science and Sustainability. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, a topic which affects each one of us as human beings. The topic is about our breath. As human beings, we can stay without food maybe for weeks. We can stay without water for days, but we cannot stay without breathing for more than a few minutes. Breath starts when we are born and it continues till the time we die. Breath remains with us all the time, and on an average, a human being breathes about 15 to 20,000 times each day. And yet, this aspect of ourselves, which is most important, is mostly overlooked. Our breath is the bridge between our bodies, our mind, and our emotions. The breath reflects the states of our body, mind, and emotions. In fact, if we are able to consciously regulate our breath with awareness, then we can also utilize breath as a tool to be able to regulate the conditions of our bodies, mind, and emotions. And that's a wonderful discovery, because then we have ourselves in our full control. We can manage ourselves effectively in life. So to understand breathing, it would be important to know the core instrument, that is our lungs. How do they behave? In simple terms, we can say that the lungs are like a cylinder. When we inhale, the lungs expand, allowing more oxygen to come in. The lungs can expand in three different directions. One is using the top edge. In case of our bodies, we would say the clavicular muscles here, so they expand on top. The cylinder expands on the top. The second one, what we may call as a mid-chest breathing, is the thoracic muscles. They expand sideways, and this is typically what we do when we go to a doctor and he says, breathe deeply. So we say, this is what we tend to do. But the lungs can also expand, the cylinder can also expand in the lower extremities. And that is where the crux of the whole thing lies. This is where our diaphragm is located, just below the lungs. So if we use the lungs to expand on the lower side, then the diaphragm tends to push down, and then that is how the stomach tends to come out. So when you see a small baby sleeping, you find that the stomach is rising and falling as the baby is peacefully sleeping. And this is what we call the diaphragmatic breath, which actually is the most efficient way to breathe. And that is how we were all born breathing. That was our natural tendency. So in various practices, we would learn now how to activate our diaphragmatic muscles and breathe more efficiently, more completely. We will now take up the practice of a few postures which help us achieve diaphragmatic breathing. Or it would be appropriate to say that which help us restore our ability to breathe in a diaphragmatic manner. As we have said, diaphragmatic breathing, we also refer to it as abdominal breathing or stomach breathing. It is the most efficient way to breathe, and we were all born to breathe diaphragmatically. But with the passage of time, slowly the habit patterns, the pressures of life, and not being aware of our bodies, we slowly lose the ability and our breathings become ineffective, inefficient, and shallow. So the first posture is what we call the Makarasana, the crocodile posture. In crocodile posture, we don't have to make any special effort to breathe diaphragmatically because the posture itself supports only diaphragmatic breathing. So let me first demonstrate that to you. So in Makarasana, we lie down on our stomach, folding the hands in front of our body, keeping the hands at a distance from the body where we find comfortable position where there is not too much of strain on the shoulders. And then with the hands in that position, you simply lower your forehead onto the hands. Keep your feet apart. Toes could be pointing outwards, could be in this position or otherwise. And simply let your mind focus around the stomach and navel region. And you will notice that each time you inhale, the stomach presses against the floor and the lower back is gently rising. And as you exhale, the lower back gently drops down. In this posture, you simply have to remain focused around the stomach and navel region. Do not try to extend the duration of your breath, and simply keep observing the breath and letting go of any tension that you may have in your mind. And you will find that you are breathing diaphragmatically, giving you a deep sense of relaxation. For those who may find Makarasana difficult because of obesity, another way in which you can activate the diaphragmatic breathing is by lying in Shavasana and using what we call a sandbag. This is a bag specially designed. It can be normally a normal rectangular shape also. It's not so critical. About 1 to 3 kg of sand which has been filled in this. So what we do here is you lie in Shavasana or supine position. Keep your feet away from each other by 1.5 feet or so as you find comfortable. Place the sandbag just below the rib cage so that it is bang on top of your diaphragm. Okay? Place the hands on the sides, palms facing upwards, and let the weight of the sandbag induce diaphragmatic breath. Please watch carefully. There's another simple exercise which can also help you become more aware of the diaphragmatic breathing, is in lying down posture, which is again a very relaxing pose. Simply fold your legs around the knees. Place your right hand just below the rib cage above the diaphragm and left hand on the chest, and simply observe the breathing. At this time, try to just let go of all the tension. When you're performing any asana, let your mind get focused on certain parts of the body as may be instructed, or on the breathing which is happening. That way you prevent any disturbing thoughts from coming into your mind and affecting your breath. So we have taken up these 3 postures which help us restore our diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breath, most efficient way to breathe. You inhale a larger quantum of fresh air, which helps in the blood being charged with more oxygen. It reduces the heart rate. It induces a relaxation effect, activates your vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system. 4 important key points when we talk about breathing in yoga. Slowly we must try to achieve 4 important points in our breathing practices. First one is that the breathing should be even. That means the duration of inhalation and exhalation should slowly start to become equal. Now, initially we may have to take some practice of doing a mental counting, number of counts you inhale and number of counts you exhale, and do that without trying to stretch your breath too long. Okay, so we must work within our comfortable capacity. Slowly we achieve the evenness of breath. Then we reduce the pause, that's point number 2. We reduce the pause between the inhalation and exhalation and inhalation. It should be like a smooth sinusoidal wave, rising and dropping. That should be the breath pattern. The third important point is that your breath should not be jerky at all. The jerkiness of the breath has to be slowly reduced. It should be smooth. It should not be fluttering. And fourth important point is that the breath should not be creating any noise or sound. So we have learned how to practice diaphragmatic breathing, and we have learned the 4 important points of even breathing, reduction of the noise, the sound, eliminating the pause between inhalation and exhalation, and so on and so forth, and also eliminating the jerkiness or fluttering of the breath. So, with gentle practice of diaphragmatic breathing through the exercises that we have learned, we'll be able to restore our ability to breathe far more effectively and efficiently. So keep breathing. Breath is life. Thank you very much. Namaste.